I'll be up. All right, so we'll do one more. We got Jason Carter. I'm seeing some fire in the chat. 3 more accepted. Just got 3 songs accepted into the Below Deck Season 4. Proof that if you just do work, eventually it'll all pay off. Looking forward to getting more. Thank you, Anthony Clint Jr. Let's go. Thank yourself. Y'all the ones doing the work. I'm giving y'all the blueprint. You follow the blueprint. But if you don't do the work, it doesn't even matter what I teach you. It's like nothing will move unless you do the work. So y'all doing the work, man. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. I love to see it. It keeps me motivated. I'm over here working and getting these syncs with y'all. We in the trenches together. So it's fun, man. It's just super fun to have a community to just support you along the journey. It feels a lot less lonely in this space when you got a community you can just ask questions, share common frustrations with. I'm telling you, man, it's a game changer. Jason says, my wife and I watch Below Deck all the time. Let's go. So you probably heard a fellow member's music right there on the show. That's dope. So yeah, man, y'all keep crushing it. Let's go. If you guys have questions, drop them in the chat. I am going to open up the it's not a phone line, but I'm going to open up the dial in for Sync Producer Hub members. If you guys have a question, if you don't want to be brought up on audio or video, then you don't have to use that link, but it's a member only link on the calendar inside the community if you want to come up and ask a question. Otherwise, you can just type it in the chat and I'll answer it. Miguel, what's up, Miguel? Good to see you, bro. Hope all is well. But so in other news, ChatGPT 5 dropped. When was that? Yesterday? I think it dropped yesterday. And I haven't really dug into it yet to see what some of the major difference is, but I used it for the first time today. And I used it to see what are some key sync licensing trends in 2025. And I'm going to share what it gave me here in a second. Clarence says, I just got a 20-track deal following your method last week. Listen, come on. Catching stray wins in the chat. Let's go, Clarence. I know Clarence been rocking with us for a while, too, just on the platform. So shout out to Clarence putting in the work. We see you, bro. So this is what ChatGPT gave me in terms of trends, and I thought it was pretty interesting and honestly spot on for the most part in terms of what I've been seeing myself. I'm trying to find. There we go. I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So number one, and I'll kind of weave in and out of this. I'll take some answer questions and I'll kind of jump back and forth between this and some questions. But the first thing was number one, emotion-driven character tracks are winning. So like basically music supervisors are bypassing the overly polished and safe tracks in favor of songs with, according to, I think this was from like a Medium article. It was like a series of articles, but in favor of songs with texture, grit, and emotional impact, particularly from indie artists. So tracks must be sync ready from the first note, capturing attention immediately. Additionally, themes like resilience, transformation, and personal growth are resonating strongly. Multilingual lyrics, shout out to my multilinguals in the community. Global rhythms, definitely been hearing all types of global rhythms and fused genres and things like that. And unique cultural styles are also gaining traction, which is super dope. So I agree, like 100%, man. I'm telling you, like indie artists, like this is a space to be. Indie artists, indie producers, like I just feel like this is like the space where you can win. You can give your music like purpose. You're not like, it doesn't feel like a rat race. Like it's like, I don't know, it just feels more purposeful when you're working on music for media. because they're very clear on what they want. They're very clear on what they do not want for the most part. Sometimes who was that? I was talking to, who was I talking to, man? We were talking about a brief where we was like, what does this even mean? But for the most part, it's really straightforward. We got Michael. Michael has a question. Let's bring Michael up. Michael, what's up, bro? Oh, I think you're muted. Yep. I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a quick question. In terms of the process for um, applying to be a composer on a show versus a producer of tracks or additional music, does that change? Does it look any different? I'm just kind of putting a sort of 5 Q playlist together for supervising music, but it's
Yeah.
kind of going towards more composition than actual tracks per se. So I'm just wondering, what is the process in the search for a composer for a show versus a music supervisor asking for music from producers?
Yeah, in terms of composer, I think that is definitely, more relationship based versus just like, sending out a brief for composers. I'm not sure exactly what that process looks like from their end in terms of a show looking for a composer. But from the experience I've had working with a composer on a show who was just kind of in charge of the whole show, his deal was basically directly with the production company of, a handful of shows. And he was basically lead composer. So obviously he had the opportunity to knock out everything if he wanted to, but he pretty much assembled like the Avengers of whatever he was working on. And
Right.
we pretty much split the work, and, we would all do as many tracks as we could, submit it to him, and then he would kind of give the final say, make any additions or edits that he needed, and then go from there. I think budget looks a little bit different when you're a composer as well. Sometimes you're getting a certain percentage of the film production budget, like whatever that music budget is, they kind of get that to work on the show. And again, that may look different depending on how big the show is, how big the budget is.
Right.
And then, we kind of split that up. And then, of course, we would have our, our royalties and things like that. And then, and then I think there was like collaboration between, if there was a music supervisor, it would, sort of be some collaborations between composer and supervisor from time to time in terms of, blending songs with composition and scoring and things like that.
Right.
Yep.
Cool. Makes sense. Thanks.
Cool. Yep. No problem. Let's scroll back up. I seen Jason had a question. It says, after you've sent your deliverables for the first time, how often should you reach out to Music Library? What type of messaging should you use to see if they'll share what they need? So after you've sent your deliverables for the first time, so this is after you guys are working on a project. They gave you the deliverables that they want. You submitted those deliverables, and now you're waiting to hear back from them. What type of messaging should you use? So I'll give you guys some tips that I like to use in terms of that. So say we're at the end of the project. They approve the tracks. They're like, hey, send deliverables. Usually after deliverables, depending on the company and like what's going on, if there's any like upfront fees involved, usually you're waiting for paperwork and payment info and W-9 tax info, stuff like that. So after sending those, if they don't like mention anything after receiving those, I may give them a couple weeks, and then I may give it, like, if I don't hear anything immediately within the next week or so, I'll hit them back and I'll say, hey, let me know if you need anything on my end in terms of, where to submit the invoice or, things like that. But then usually they'll respond with next steps for that or let you know if they need anything else. So what I'll do then, because they may need another budge, and I've done this recently too. Like say they reply and they're like, okay, we'll get that W-9 over to you and, whatever agreement over in the next few days or so. I won't respond to that email. I'll see it, I'll get it, and in my head I'll be like, cool, but I won't respond immediately. I'll save it until, say, another week goes by and I haven't gotten the paperwork or the W-9 or whatever, or any info on invoice submissions. And then I'll say, okay, cool. I'll respond to the email later, basically. And that's like a cool way to nudge to where I'm just responding to the emails and I'll say like, okay, cool, looking forward to it. And then that reminds them to, go ahead and send it over. Let's bring Jason up. He can give us some details. What's up, bro?
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. How are you?
Good.
Awesome.
What I meant by that question, I didn't type it very clearly. They only gave me a few characters, is I already got paid, so that's
okay.
great. Yeah, but like when you are developing a new relationship with a new library and you want to kind of get in their inner circle and figure out what projects they're working on and all of that, I don't want to be a bugaboo and write them too much, or I don't want to, you know what I mean? And I want to make sure I'm using the right messaging to start that relationship on the right foot.
Yeah.
So just any advice on that?
Yeah. So I'll say once they get everything finalized, like say maybe once they release it, reach out and say, hey, just want to say thanks again. This project, it came together great. Compliment the album artwork or something like that. And then ask, do you need help with anything else? Are there any other projects you need help with or anything else I can help with? And then that'll keep the conversation going. They'll let you know if there's anything else. So I'll do it then. And then I'll also follow up once I see placements from a project. Then I'll reach out again and say, hey, I seen this album got, a bunch of placements on such and such. Thank you guys again for the opportunity. Is there anything else I can help you with like right now or at the moment you have any needs?